Okay, guys, how's it going? In my last video, I said I was gonna do a little bit of a analysis for the Rise of Skywalker here, and I'll do it first. Before I talk about the picture that's on the screen right now, I want to talk about the name of the Rise of Skywalker for a second, and I actually find it interesting. I have a few theories on that because to me, because if you think right now, who is the last Skywalker alive, or two, you could say, it'd be Leia and Kylo Ren, formerly Ben Solo. And a name like the Rise of Skywalker is very interesting because Kylo Ren, you would think it would have to do with him because it makes sense with his position, but he's already risen above and he's already, supreme leader of the First Order and stuff like that. So I can't really see how it fits to him, nor do I see how it fits to Princess Leia at all. It doesn't really fit her character that much at all either. Um, it could be, I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away. I mean, I don't know, but here's what I think. You think about in all the movies, who is the Skywalker? I mean, you had the Skywalkers, but who specifically Skywalker? Because mostly the name. And to me, that character is Luke very much. Even in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, he's not referred to as he's referred to Luke as a couple times, but that's by Han and Leia primarily, and Finn, But Snoke, who was supposedly supposed to be the main villain, or was at one time, he refers to him as Skywalker in both instances. So here's what I'm kind of thinking. It could be kind of like the redemption, the Rise of Skywalker. It could be his return in a sense, and it could be that. I really don't see anything other than that. Or going back to Kylo Ren, it could mean the Rise of Skywalker, which could mean Kylo Ren's redemption. Which I kind of hope it's not that because that's just a little cliche in my opinion. I mean, we've seen Kylo go this far. Why all of a sudden would he just do a 360 and come back? I don't really see a lot that would make him do that, honestly. So, I mean, yeah, honestly, I can't really see that much. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the picture on the screen here. This was in the trailer. It's Kylo Ren. I'm not sure what he's using, some kind of plasma, I guess, fixing his helmet. Now, you can take the gist as is, Kylo Ren fixing his broken helmet and getting it fixed and stuff like that. But again, I don't want to think too much in it, but I kind of think this is just a show by J.J. Abrams put this in here that he is literally fixing the franchise now. That he's coming in, fixing what's broken, and putting it back together. That's what I see it is. It could be less than that. I mean, I don't really know. So, yeah. And then this next one I'm just going to talk about really quickly here. When they're just running through the forest. I don't know where it is, but it's very red, a bunch of trees and stuff like that, ashes, people burning, stormtroopers. But Kylo Ren in this, just the body slam with the saber, I just think it's really awesome here. I think he's actually gonna be more. You're actually gonna see more of a badass from him than he was. Hopefully in the scene, I'm hoping to see the Knights of Ren in it, actually see what they're able to do. In an open battlefield. I think that would be cool. It's cool to know they are actually gonna see some stuff like that. All right, now let's go to the main character of this trilogy right now, and that is Rey. Sorry, the picture's a little blurry. She's holding a stick. Don't know why. It's ridiculous, but I'm just gonna talk about her clothes for a second because this is gonna be her new look, obviously, and it's very similar to how all of her clothes has been in The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens and stuff like that. But it's more traditional to the Jedi per se. Like here, you see, you got the robe or cape and stuff like that, and you see it's very similar to how it is in more classic and stuff like that. And I'm actually pretty excited for this. I mean, I'm a sucker for this. Honestly, just the white clothing and stuff like that. I just think it looks badass. In fact, that the arm sleeves gets taken away, so arms are open. I think makes it. It probably has to do with her fighting style, but to me, that would make you a better swordsman or fighter, however you want to say it, all around, simply because you have more arm mobility. And again, I could be looking too far into it, but to me, that's my dilemma. And then I'm gonna go over to this one. As you see, she gets Anakin's lightsaber back, or Luke's lightsaber, or Rey's lightsaber, how you want to say it. But it's the Graflex saber, the chosen saber. I don't know. Which I'm not really too sure how I feel about that. I mean, honestly, it's one of those things. I wish they just gave her a new lightsaber, made her custom, just have her own lightsaber. Personally, me, I would have had her have a double blade lightsaber because she's fought with the staff her whole life. It would have made sense. It would have been true to her fighting style. But this thing right here is the thing that gets me, because obviously it definitely where it broke apart and it's split in half. So it's something there to keep it together, and I'm curious what that is and what that technology really is. How you can weld together a lightsaber like that and actually make it function. And then this one over here, she the lightsaber still ignites. She holds it the same way, but she still has her gun, which I think is fascinating. Of course, as you know, Han Solo gave her that gun, so it could be a kind of a memento, I guess. She's just kind of holding on to it, as a reminder of him. It'll be interesting to see if she actually uses it, because we've never seen a Jedi who's actually used a weapon with, or like a blaster with a lightsaber before in combat. And that would be interesting. I mean, you see Luke have one in Empire Strikes Back. He doesn't use it when he's fighting with the saber anyway. And you've seen Obi-Wan use a blaster, but that was like last resort. So it'd be interesting to see if she kind of fights with it too. I think that would be a pretty crazy change of pace. And now we're gonna go over here to this one. It's obviously, this is the medal after the Battle of Yavin in A New Hope. Princess Leia is holding. I'm gonna take a guess and say that this is Han Solo's medal, and we're finally gonna see kind of some of these characters' remembrances of him. How she's going to kind of mourn or go back to the old times. I think there's going to be a little bit of throwbacks in this movie, and just look backs and stuff like that. Anyway, now this one, Leia hugging Rey, wherever they are. I'll talk about that in a minute. I don't know where they are, but you see, he goes back over here, and Rey obviously looks sad. And there's one scene where she actually starts crying. This is a scene I think is going to be officially the end of Leia. I think either here she is going to stay behind and hold back the First Order, or if they are there, however she may do it, or she's already dead and she's appearing to Rey as a vision or a ghost or something like that. I'm not too really sure. Now I'm going to talk about the planet. This picture right here probably best illustrates it. People are trying to compare this. I've heard some people say it's Endor. I've heard some people say various things. I don't see it being Endor, because Endor is kind of more of like a forest, and I guess you can see that, but I see this more as a tropical planet more than anything. So what I'm thinking this is actually going to be Yavin, and it would make sense why Leia would have that medal back, because she's just remembering, the last time they were at Yavin was the first big victory against the Empire, and stuff like that, showing that evil can be defeated, and things like that. So I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think that's what it is, because I think it's going to be a part of the plot of the story. This desert planet. Now, before On the last planet I showed and was talking about, I think it's Yavin. They've already said that that's where the movie's going to start. It's going to take place on there in the beginning. I believe that's what JJ said during the panel at Star Wars Celebration. This one, I am going to go on a stretch a little bit and say this is the second planet they go to. And they're going to discover something either on the first planet they are or later on in the movie. And it's going to be right here. I've heard various places about this, and this could be many places we've seen. This could be Tatooine. This could be Jakku again. This could be I don't want. It's not going to be Geonosis because it just doesn't look red. It kind of has a red glow. Originally, I was thinking, when the picture started coming out, I was thinking it was going to be Korriban. I think that would have been a cool way to tie in stuff. But again, Korriban has just a red mist kind of dusk vibe to it setting. Just a red atmosphere, and that doesn't look like it unless they're not putting it in there. But at the same time, I don't know why they would do that. I mean, they're not as hush hush as Marvel is, it seems. The reason I believe this is, I'll go into how I think the order is. I think we might actually see most planets in this movie than we've seen in any other Star Wars movie before. I think the most we've seen was Attack of the Clones, and we saw 3 planets in that. We saw Coruscant at the beginning, and then we saw Camino, and we saw Geonosis at the end. This one, we might get 3 or 4. I could be wrong. There could be one that we've seen more planets on. I mean, for a diligent amount of time. And of course, Revenge of the Sith, you see various planets. I think you see like 8 or something like that. But I mean, you see them for a few seconds, maybe. I'm talking like times, like planets. They spend a good margin of time on them. And so I think we're going to get multiple on that. Now, it's interesting what they're going to find, because obviously they're here. And Rey is here because you see Kylo, he starts coming and just TIE Fighter the Facer. So obviously what they're doing, she's doing anyway. The way I see it is she's luring Kylo Ren away to let the rest of the crew do their thing to get whatever it is they need. And that's in this picture right here. So you see Finn, you see Poe. For some reason, Finn has Rey's staff. I don't know what that is. But they're also on the same planet. So obviously there's something here that they're looking for and they're searching for. And then we're going to go to this one. As you see, they're on the run. This is one reason why it may be Tatooine, because this looks like a skiff runner that Jabba used, during Return of the Jedi. But this is going to be prominent on many desert planets as well. I mean, who knows, really? And whatever planet this is, to me, this looks like that planet from Solo, where they do the train heist. And to get that, it's very similar to that. I don't know what it is, and the planet. But I mainly want to talk about the ship, because people talk about, to me, this just looks like an A-Wing ship. But there are different angles you can look at from where it looks very similar to the ship that supposedly drops Rey off in The Force Awakens. And people have been correlating that this is going to be a flashback, or it's going to be assigned to who Rey's parents are, if you're really still into that thing. I don't know why anyone would be at this point. But to me, if it's that ship from The Force Awakens, to me that's just a very common ship, and it could really be anybody's ship at this point. Now we're going to go this one. This is obviously where they're on a different planet. You all know the scene coming up. Now, this is why I think the tropical planet is the first one. They've always said that. And then the desert planet, whatever that one is, going to be the second planet on. And then this is going to be the third one, simply because they're in the battle. But you see here, Poe has a bandage on his arm. So obviously they've been in a battle, an after battle. And then they come to this place. Whatever it is, whether it's the same planet or a different planet. But he's obviously wounded. But if I come back here to this picture, you see he's not wounded. He has nothing on his arm. So obviously he hasn't been there yet. One scene in particular that I've heard a lot of buzz about, and that's this scene right here. It's when this A-Wing ship is crashing down, And then this ship in the back, the Star Destroyer or whatever it is, not destroyer, but this capital ship or whatever. Now, if you look right here, you see this red line. I really can't say what it is because, you know, it goes very fast and you don't really get a full picture. But this could very well be. I've heard people say this looks very much like a Venator class destroyer from the Clone Wars, and it's hard not to agree with that because you have this picture here that I'll bring up. It looks very similar. So you got the red stripe there, and this is of course the big one, the big capital ships, which it could be this one, but I kind of think actually it's going to be more something like this, like these light cruisers, because you got the red stripe on the side, in the middle, and then there, and it's a lot smaller, and that kind of fits a little bit here because this right here looks more like the side of the ship, and then this looks like the top hole of the ship. Then you would have another side, and it'd probably look like this. So that's why I think it's the smaller one, the cruiser instead, simply because of that, more or less. And really too much to it than that. I mean, I can't really think of what else. It could be something else entirely. For all I know, too, this could be a platform or a base. Who knows? Now, the scene. I'm sure you guys know about the scene to which I refer. This scene right here. The wreckage of the Death Star. And, you know, what happened next. Now, this is the main reason why I think this planet, wherever they're on, in the beginning, is Yavin. If this is, in fact, after that, which I don't think it is, because simply the fact of Poe right here kind of gives it away with his bandage, how he's after a battle. Now, why would they go to Yavin and then say to Tatooine or whatever, and then they come back to Yavin to find this? I mean, they would have known this was here. I've heard people also say this looks very similar to Octo 2, and that could be as well. So, I mean, it's difficult to say because I mean, this crash could cause this, whatever it is. But my theory could be because in all of Star Wars, it never explains how the Death Star plans actually came to be. It never says that the Separatist Alliance ever created the plans. They had the plans, and they showed the plans to Dooku, saying, you know, you got to give this to your master and whatnot. But I could be wrong. But I don't think anywhere it actually confirms that the Separatists came up with the plans. Now, my theory is that, say, the Separatists could have found the plans because Palpatine going around, you know, going to all these temples and finding all these holocrons and stuff. He could have came across the plan for the Death Star and then just bringing it in. So the Death Star, for all we know, could be 1,000 years old. The ancient Sith Empire could have used. I mean, I don't know. It could be. It's just an interesting theory that I think about because the way they're looking at it, it's almost like because they know where they were destroyed. They know the history that they were destroyed. The first one was destroyed on Yavin, and the second one at Endor. And the way they're looking at it, they can't believe like this is here. This is sitting here. And you know, it could be Endor, but at the same time, this doesn't look like Endor at all. This grass doesn't look right. I don't remember it being this rocky and this oceany, I guess is the term. And then Palpatine at the end, you know, you can't not talk about Palpatine. Him laughing. I had fears about this, and now they're kind of going away because I was afraid this was going to be a build-up and Palpatine was going to make a return, and that was going to, in my opinion, destroy Star Wars because it would have made everything that we learned about Anakin and Darth Vader redemption and Luke Skywalker, you know, bringing him back for the light to defeat Palpatine and bring balance to the Force. That would have been totally and utterly irrelevant if he was going to come back, because that would just say, you know, Anakin was never the chosen one. I guess it would be Rey would be the next chosen one, and that's just a slap in the face to everything. And Ian McDiarmid came out. This was all I was waiting for kind of people to get some of the last thoughts out. He did come out and say in Return of the Jedi that the Emperor did in fact die. He is dead. So, what I think it actually is in the Clone Wars, I think, Season 6, Yoda, in one episode, he goes to Korriban, which is the ancient homeworld of the Sith. And during that episode, he actually meets the ghost of the Sith Lord Darth Bane, who's an ancient Sith Lord at the time, and he created the rule too. Of course, it was just an apparition I don't really think it was the real Force Ghost because he says you're just a figment of my imagination. Basically go away, and he does. This is I could see this being being more or less the same thing here, or whether here if this is the second Death Star. In fact, it could be that because he could just be locked in there, and it was just a Force Nexus, and they could talk to him. It could be a holocron for all you know, and he could be talking there. It could be one of his Sentinel Sentry droids that he sends out after his death to relay information that they can find. I don't know. Um, just one of those things you just have to wait because I was afraid that it was building up to this because of course in the Last Jedi you hear Palpatine shrieking at the end of the trailer or in the beginning of the trailer, and this one you hear it at the end, and that was just my fear that they were just going to fully bring him back and that it's just going to they could just be leaning astray with oh no he's actually dead. I don't know why they would do that. Honestly, that just destroys. That would just get rid of so much and destroy so much that is. And me, I would really get ticked off. So, what does it? I can't think of anything other than it could be Octu, and or this is some other planet, and this is just an ancient Sith weapon is what the Death Star actually was. That's really the main thing that I can see, honestly. And then I'm gonna briefly also talk about what Luke talks about in the beginning. He talks about how he says we passed down all we know, and that 1,000 generations of Jedi live in you now, but this is your fight. And he says that to Rey, and then of course he says no one is ever really dead. Now, obviously, to me, at the end when he says no one, right here when he says no one is ever really dead, I mean no one is truly gone. And the Palpatine's laugh. When he said that, I immediately knew that he has to be talking about Kylo Ren. He cannot talk to me about anybody else. I mean, the way he said it, obviously Rey is communicating with them. So yeah, we're going to see Luke as a Force ghost. Basically confirmed. To me, that's the way I see it. The interesting thing is he says, we have passed down all we know. Who is the we he's talking about? Because Rey only was really taught a little bit by Luke. He could be talking about the Jedi Order as a whole, with the book she has and read it, or what I am really hoping for here is she's actually being trained by, Luke, Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin, but they're all Force ghosts. And I'm hoping in this scene, when he says that, they're all standing there and they all do it. I was very upset, in The Last Jedi when Obi-Wan didn't appear with Yoda. We got Yoda, but we didn't get Obi-Wan. I don't know why that would have happened. I don't know why Obi-Wan wouldn't show up as well. He's done that every other time Yoda has conversed with him. So, 1,000 generations of Jedi lives in you now. I don't know what that means. Is that just the teachings? I'm guessing it is. I'm going to take a wild guess and say he just talked about the teachings of the Jedi, 1,000 years of history. She has it, she controls it, and basically, you're now the future, which, to me, I think is kind of, I don't know. It's like you're giving the future to, really, just like that. And I thought it was also kind of dumb, Luke says, no one is truly ever gone to Rey, and he says it, and the Rey, no one's ever truly, really gone, you can't be thinking that, but, of course, in the last movie, we see him, he's ready to kill his nephew because he sees too much anger in him because he thought he was gone, and he says, oh, wait, no, and then, so, I mean, they kind of made Luke hypocritical here. That's a kind of whatever deal. It's like, okay, you're kind of backtracking here, but, I'd rather have backtracking than them going with it, and they did come out to, this is the thing that really got me. I'm sorry if I'm dragging along and kind of going over things, not when I'm not supposed to, but JJ came out and did say they were going to respect what The Last Jedi did and how the movie was and the things that were in the movies. So, what I took this as he's saying Snoke died, Snoke is going to remain dead. More or less, they're not going to have an intention of bringing him back, which I think is kind of stupid. Because I think Snoke was a hugely missed opportunity for the future of Star Wars. When I say the future of Star Wars, I would mean the future of Star Wars that takes place in the past. They could have made Snoke a very old character, an ancient character, and then when they do the Old Republic series, they could delve more into his origins and why he is the way that he is. And I don't care if Rey defeats him or Rey and Kylo defeat him. That would be cool, and you could talk more about, I don't know, another prophecy if you really wanted to, which that's take it or leave it at this point. So I mean, I don't know. I wasn't too big on the trailer. There were some things that kind of stuck out, mostly the planets and of course the Death Star. You know, that was my big question. My big fear was Emperor Palpatine, but I'm kind of gone down now. But it's just this picture right here in particular is the one that's trying to get me, because I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to really think about it now. For all we know, I don't know. Like I said, it's just back here. Their faces. They know what it is. They all know what it is. You look at C-3PO, you look at Chewbacca, you look at Rey, you look at Poe, you look at Finn. They all know what it is when they're walking up to it. You know, they've all learned about this. They've all know the history of it and stuff like that. But it's just their faces that get me. It's just like, look, like they can't believe, they don't know why it's here. They know what it is, but they don't know how it's here on this planet wherever they are. And that's really the main thing. So if there's anything to be excited about and to look forward to for me, it's this right here. Is what planet is this, and how did those remains get there? To me, that's really the only thing I want to be answered, and the only question I really ask, because it's hard to figure out, and it's very interesting to think about, honestly. And I don't know if the movie's gonna end here. I was thinking it was, but I think this is going to be a little towards the end of the movie, maybe towards more the middle. I think it's going to go this planet first. This is going to be a goodbye to Leia. They're just going to get that out of the way. Then it's going to go to this place, whatever desert place this is. This could be many. This could be the Goes on Badlands. This could be Tatooine. This could be, who knows, another planet in the by the unknown regions we don't know about. This planet, if this is the third planet, which I'm thinking it is, I was thinking it was going to end more. I don't know how it's going to end. I was honestly hoping it would end where it all started on Tatooine. But I think it's going to go there somehow. At least talk about it, because they did say they're going to try and tie all the movies together, the entire sagas, into this one movie. And that would have been a perfect way to do it. The perfect ending was the end of Last Jedi, but because that movie was so bad and the ending was so bad, the ending didn't stick. But I thought the ending would have been perfect for the end of the saga. That was just me. So, anyways, let me know your theories down below. You know what you thought. And if you want to see kind of more videos like this, you know, let me know. I'm trying to really figure this out. That would be appreciated.